Hey everyone. So are you ready to really dig into something?
I'm ready.
You know how everyone is talking about smartphones and social media and like how it's all messing with kids' mental health?
Yeah.
We're going to go deep on that today.
Okay.
We found this YouTube video and it summarizes Jonathan Haidt's book, The Anxious Generation.
Oh,
And
interesting.
basically, we're going to figure out, like, why are we seeing so much anxiety and depression now? It
Hmm.
seems like, around 2010, things really took a turn, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's the deal? And more importantly, like, what can we actually do about it?
Yeah, it is definitely a really important question that a lot of people are asking.
For sure. And this video doesn't sugarcoat anything. It's
Yeah.
like, whoa, teens are super anxious and depressed. And some are even like freaking out when you take their devices away.
Hmm.
Like it's almost like they're like having withdrawals.
It really shows you how attached so many kids are to their phones and to
Oops.
social media.
Yes.
Of course, some anxiety is totally normal, right?
Yeah, of
It's
course.
like a natural human emotion.
Well,
But when it's like constant and really intense, well, that's when you know something's not right.
right.
And that's when it's so important to, know where to get help.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, a lot of what teens are so anxious about, it isn't even like a real threat,
Oh, what do you mean? Like they're worried about stuff that's not actually dangerous?
Yeah, it's more about perception.
Perception.
Like this idea of social death.
Social death. What's a...
It's this term Haidt uses
Okay.
to describe like the fear of being excluded, of not belonging.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like huge for teens.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And social media just like
Right.
makes that fear so much worse.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
And it's like this whole mental health thing kind of blew up at the same time smartphones and social media became like everywhere.
Right.
By 2016, like almost 80% of US teens had smartphones. And they're spending like an average of 7 hours a day on social media.
That's a lot.
That's like their
Yeah.
whole life,
It is a
basically.
huge shift. Yeah.
So we've gone from like kids playing outside, to them just staring at screens all day long.
Right. It really impacts how they grow up, like in those key developmental stages of childhood.
But like, what's it actually doing to their brains?
Well, hate kind of breaks it down into 4 key areas that used to be essential for kids to, grow up well.
Okay.
And all 4 have been messed up by what he calls the phone-based childhood.
Oh, okay. So, what are those 4 things?
Free play, attunement, social learning, and that slow-growing childhood we were talking about.
All right, let's take them one by one.
Okay.
Starting with free play.
Yeah.
I think most people kind of get that. Like, playing's good for kids, right?
Right.
But like, what makes it so important, in terms of development and stuff?
Think back to when you were a kid. When you played, it was all like up to you, right? You and your friends decided what to do.
Totally.
No adults telling you what to do.
Uh-huh.
You were interacting with the real world.
Yeah.
You had to figure stuff out on your own.
Right.
And that's how kids develop those cognitive skills, social skills, emotional regulation.
Mm-hmm.
It's how they learn to deal with, how the world actually works.
Yeah, like running around, getting dirty,
Exactly.
taking risks,
Yep.
dealing with conflict.
It's all that good stuff.
Makes sense.
Right.
Okay, what about attunement? I'll admit I'm not really sure what that means.
Yeah, it's basically that feeling of like deep connection with another person.
Okay.
Like really feeling seen and understood.
Uh-huh.
Like, have you ever seen a baby laughing along with their parent?
Yeah.
That's attunement.
Oh,
It's about mirroring emotions,
right.
sharing in each other's joy, learning to read, those nonverbal cues.
That's interesting.
That's like super important for healthy emotional development.
Makes sense.
But it's easy to mess that up with all the, distractions from technology.
It's like we're all together but not really present.
Exactly.
Always checking our phones, like half listening and missing those little moments of connection.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to social learning.
Okay.
How does that fit in with all this technology stuff?
Well, we know that kids are like little sponges.
Yeah, they're always watching
They
them.
watch and imitate the people around them.
Right.
That's how they learn.
Mm-hmm.
But social media has really distorted that whole process.
Oh, how's
It's
it?
shifted the focus from like learning good stuff to chasing popularity and fame.
So the people they're looking up to, like, maybe aren't the best role models.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like think about the teen who idolizes some influencer who's known for crazy pranks.
Oh, yeah.
That's social learning gone wrong.
Interesting.
They're learning to value attention over, actually developing good skills and uh, being a good person.
Right.
And then, of course, there's the issue of kids not having that slow-growing childhood anymore.
Yeah, you said earlier that, like, humans evolved to have this long childhood,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all about, like, brain development.
Right. Human brains are super complex, and they take, like, forever to fully mature.
Mm.
This long childhood is like nature's way of giving our brains enough time to develop properly.
So we can, learn and adapt and
Exactly.
become emotionally resilient.
Yep.
But it sounds like we're kind of, like, messing with that whole process by, like, plugging kids into these hyper-stimulating digital worlds way too early.
Exactly. It's like we're overwhelming their developing brains with way too much information and stimulation.
So it's not just about the amount of screen time. It's also about, like, what they're actually doing on those screens
It's both.
and how it's affecting their brains.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the kids. Now let's talk about the technology itself.
Right.
Like, we went from those old cell phones, which were pretty basic, to these, like, super powerful attention-grabbing devices.
Right.
It all happened so fast.
It did in just a few years, really.
Like, think about it.
Yeah.
Old cell phones were mostly for calling and texting,
Right.
but then around 2010, things changed big time.
Definitely.
App stores, social media, it all, like, exploded.
Yeah.
And suddenly our phones became these, like, 24/7 entertainment and connection hubs.
And that's where things got, that's where we see this shift in our relationship with technology.
And that shift had some pretty big consequences,
It did.
especially for young people.
That's what we're going to talk about next. One of the big things that's come out of this is social deprivation.
Social deprivation.
Yeah, like face-to-face interaction among teens.
Okay.
It's really gone down, like, a lot between 2003 and 2019.
Wow.
And it's not a coincidence that, that happened right when smartphones and social media were, like, taking over.
It is kind of sad, right? Like, just hanging out with friends.
Yep.
Having those, like, real conversations.
Right.
It's becoming less common.
It is.
What's that doing to their mental health?
Well, we're social creatures.
Yeah.
We need those connections, those real-life connections to be healthy.
Right.
And when we don't have those, it can lead to, like, loneliness, isolation,
Yeah.
even depression.
And even when they are together, right?
Yeah.
They're often just on their phones.
Exactly. They're physically there, but mentally checked out.
It's like we're all together, but alone.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
And then there's the sleep deprivation thing, too.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
We all know how important sleep is.
Right.
Especially for teens.
Especially for teenagers, yeah.
But they're, like, bombarded with all this stuff that keeps them up all night.
Absolutely. And sleep is so important for, so many things.
Like what?
Mood regulation, concentration, learning, even their physical health.
Yeah.
When teens don't get enough sleep, it affects everything. And it's not even just about, like, how much sleep they get.
Oh, okay.
It's the quality of sleep, too.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, when you're on your phone before bed, that blue light, it messes with your melatonin production.
Melatonin.
Yeah, it's a hormone that regulates your sleep cycle.
So it's like a double whammy.
It is.
Not enough sleep, and the sleep they do get isn't good.
Exactly.
No wonder they can't focus in school.
Right.
And they're, like, irritable.
Makes sense.
And then, of course, there's the whole attention span thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like their brains are being pulled in a million directions at once.
They are?
With all the notifications and messages.
It's constant.
Teens are getting, like, what was it, 190 notifications a day?
On average, yeah.
That's crazy.
It's one every 5 minutes.
Like, how are you supposed to focus on anything?
You can't.
I know I struggle with that, and I'm an adult.
Right.
I can't imagine what it's like for a teenager.
Yeah, it's got to be tough.
It's like trying to read a book while someone's, like, poking you every 5 seconds.
Exactly. And all of this contributes to another big problem. Addiction.
Addiction.
Social media is designed to be addictive.
What? Really?
It is.
How is it designed to be addictive? I know the video mentioned something called, like, the hooked model.
Right. The hook model, it's a framework for understanding how, especially tech products, how they're designed to create habits.
So they hook you.
Yeah, basically. And social media uses this model really well.
So how does it work?
It's 4 steps.
Yeah.
First, there's the trigger.
The trigger.
And that can be something external, like a notification.
Okay.
Or it can be internal, like, feeling bored or lonely.
So anything that makes you pick up your phone.
Yeah, and open that app.
Okay, then what?
Then there's the action.
Okay.
You check your feed, you scroll, you like, you comment, whatever.
So you're actually, like, using the app.
Exactly.
And then
Comes a variable reward.
variable reward.
This is the key.
Okay.
Sometimes you get a bunch of likes or comments.
Yeah.
You see something funny, and you get that little dopamine hit.
It's like a little rush.
Yeah, it makes you feel good.
Okay.
But sometimes you don't get that.
Right.
So it's like a slot machine.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
You keep pulling the lever, hoping for the jackpot.
But you never know when you're going to win.
Exactly, and that's what keeps you coming back.
Wow.
You're always chasing that next reward, that next dopamine hit.
Makes sense.
And then that leads to the last step, the investment.
Investment.
You start checking more and more. You spend more time like crafting the perfect post, making your profile look good. And the more you invest, the harder it is to, to break free.
So it's like this perfect storm, right?
It is.
Technology, teenage brains, and this culture where, like, everyone's got to be connected all the time.
It's a lot, for sure.
It's kind of overwhelming, honestly.
It is a lot to process.
Is there even any hope?
I think so. Yeah. There are definitely things we can do to make things better.
I'm glad to hear that.
But it takes all of us working together.
Oh.
Parents, educators, policymakers, tech companies, everyone.
Right, not just like one person can fix this.
No, it's going to take a village.
So what can all these people do? Like, how do we actually start to change things?
Well, let's start with parents.
Okay, parents.
They're super important for, setting boundaries.
Yeah, of course.
And being good role models.
Especially for younger kids.
Especially for younger kids, yeah.
Like, what can they actually do?
One really cool example is this thing called the Wait Until 8th initiative. It's where parents basically pledge to wait to give their kids smartphones until 8th grade.
So they don't have, like, constant access to the internet and social media.
Right, not until they're a little older.
Makes sense.
And it's really cool because it's like a group effort. When lots of families in a community do it together, it changes what's normal. Kids don't feel left out because none of their friends have phones either.
That's smart. Yeah, it takes the pressure off everyone.
It does.
We've seen this kind of thing work before, right?
Totally. Think about, like, drunk driving.
Oh, yeah.
Or smoking. Those used to be, like, cool.
I guess, yeah.
But we changed that.
Through, like, those public awareness campaigns.
Right. And stricter laws and, just changing how people think about it.
So we need to do the same thing with technology.
Exactly.
Make it uncool to be on your phone all the time. Like, celebrate real life.
Yes. Real connections, creativity.
Encourage kids to, put down their phones.
Put the phone down.
Explore the world.
Yes.
All about balance, right?
Balance, exactly.
Technology's not bad in itself.
No, it's a tool.
It can be a great tool.
It can.
For learning, for connecting. We just got to be more mindful about how we use it.
Especially with kids, yeah.
So it's not just about what parents can do.
No, it's bigger than that.
What about, like, tech solutions?
Oh, yeah.
Can technology actually be part of the solution?
I think so.
So, like, using technology to fight the bad effects of technology.
Right, there's some really cool ideas out there.
Like what?
Some schools are trying those lockable phone pouches.
What are those?
Kids bring their phones to school, but they got to keep them locked up during class.
Oh, interesting.
So there's no temptation.
Smart.
Another idea is age verification for certain apps.
Okay.
So younger kids can't get on social media.
Makes sense.
And then there's, encouraging basic phones instead of smartphones.
Oh, like the old flip phones.
Yeah. You can still call and text.
Right.
But you don't get sucked into social media.
Yeah, I like that.
It's a good option, especially for younger kids.
What about the government? Like, should there be stricter laws?
There probably are some areas where, laws could help.
Like what?
Maybe schools could require phones to stay in lockers.
Okay, yeah.
Or maybe limits on screen time in certain places.
Like restaurants?
Yeah, or movie theaters.
So it's like we need to attack this problem from all sides.
We do. It's not going to be a quick fix.
No, definitely not.
But there are lots of things we can try.
That's good to hear.
It's going to take all of us working together.
Like we said.
Parents, educators, tech companies, policymakers, communities, everyone.
But we can do it, right?
I think so. I'm optimistic.
All right, so let's recap what we've learned today.
Okay.
We really dug deep into why too much phone and social media time can be bad for kids.
Yeah, we went beyond just saying, like, screen time is bad.
Right, we talked about how technology is messing with, like, free play.
And social learning.
and sleep.
Attention.
We also talked about how addictive these platforms can be.
Right, how they're designed to keep you hooked.
But, we also talked about solutions.
Yeah, we talked about the wait until 8th thing and using technology to promote better tech habits.
Right.
And maybe even some new laws.
It's a tough problem.
It is complex.
But we can do it. Oh, before we go, I wanted to mention one more thing.
Okay.
The video talked about how cooking, like inventing cooking, was a huge deal for human evolution.
It was.
It freed up all this time and energy.
Right. Our brains could develop in new ways.
So I was thinking, could our reliance on processed foods
Interesting.
be another thing that's messing with kids' development?
It's a good question.
Like alongside technology.
We know processed foods aren't good for you.
Right, all that sugar.
Yeah, and unhealthy fats.
Artificial ingredients.
It can affect brain development, mood, even sleep.
So maybe it's not just about screens.
Maybe it's about, how we live now.
Right, as a society.
The choices we make.
Maybe we need to rethink everything.
Maybe.
Our relationship with technology and food. It's definitely something to think about.
Food for thought, right?
Exactly. Well, that's it for our deep dive today.
He's a good one.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you learned something new.
Yeah.
And you're feeling hopeful about the future. We'll see you next time.